So today is going to be a little bit of a different video than I've ever made before. I have seen, obviously since I love Disney so much, I have seen all kinds of Disney movies, but I've never posted a review of one before because I never actually felt like I needed to. Most of them I have just 100% loved or 100% hated, and with Toy Story 4, I'm conflicted. So what I would like to address first is all of the positive that I think that came from Disney remaking Toy Story and Toy Story 4. My number one thing that I love the most is the fact that we now, as older adults, are able to take our children and be able to see characters that we have loved our entire lives. Woody and Buzz, the first Toy Story actually came out in 1995 and I was born in 94. So basically I've been raised knowing Woody and Buzz practically my whole life, and I have loved them. And I didn't realize how emotionally attached I was to Toy Story until Toy Story 4. Like, not even Toy Story 3 got to me, but by the ending, it was okay. I can't say the same about Toy Story 4. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I feel like it was an amazing opportunity for us that are older and that have grown up with Toy Story to be able to introduce that to our children. I have a 4-year-old whose name's Nolan, who is actually autistic. I've posted a video before of him meeting Mickey Mouse at the parks, and it was an amazing experience. So I may link that down below. But anywho, I have an autistic child, and he is very hard to get to sit down and just actually focus on a movie. And Toy Story is one of those movies that he can do that with. And it's any 3 of them, because he's not seen the 4th one yet, but he loves Toy Story 1, 2, or 3. And then I also have a 6-year-old, her name is Berkeley, and she loves Toy Story as well. So I was really excited to introduce them to a new movie and to be able to take them to the theater. And also, something else I'm happy about that this is done for us is it's also released new merch. So we have a ton of merch that has came out. A lot with new characters like Forky or Ducky, or I think the other one's Bunny. I guess that would make sense. But any of those have been a part of the new merch, which I think is wonderful. But it's also kind of brought out new Toy Story, like OG characters. You'll see me use that term quite a bit, just so you guys kind of know. OG characters is like Woody, Buzz, Jessie, Bullseye, Rex, Ham, Slinky, that whole era. So just keep that in mind throughout this video, because I will probably mention that a few times. But anyway, that is a positive, because I'm glad that we are able to have new merch and to be able to bring our children into it. Second thing that I think is really positive that they did with this movie is that they had a lot of focus on Woody, which I think is wonderful. I don't think they necessarily should have had all the focus on Woody, which is 90% of the movie. But it did allow us to see different sides of Woody. It allowed us to be able to see like his mental state now with being with Bonnie and not Andy. So I appreciated the fact that Disney included that, just so we could kind of, like, I guess, check on them and just see how they are now that they're not with Andy. And Woody wasn't doing too good, which, by the way, this video will have spoilers. So keep that in mind. If you do not want to be spoiled about the end, or if you don't want to hear any negative comments about the movie until you've watched it, you may want to click away from here, because I'm about to get into all that in just a second. But I do want to put out there that I am going to be talking about the ending of the movie and kind of the issues I have with it. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm very thankful that they included Woody, and just kind of, like I said, like kind of allowed us to check in on him since Andy gave him and the rest of the OG crew to Bonnie. Something else I want to say that I thought was really positive was I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the transition in Bo Peep coming back, and I wasn't really sure about like Forky's attitude in the trailers. I didn't know if I was really going to like him. I had asked several of my friends on Facebook and on Instagram. If you don't follow me on any of those, I will put links in the description box so you can go do that. But I did ask them what they thought of the movie. And a lot of people told me that they loved Forky, and a lot of people told me that they didn't. So I guess he's got some mixed reviews going on. But for me, I really enjoyed him. I really liked him. And I also really enjoyed having Bo Peep back. And is it weird for me to say that I think a toy has like a badass attitude? I loved her in this movie. I thought it was so cool. Her talking about like what she's been doing ever since Andy's mom got rid of her. You know, I think it was really cool. So I appreciated that fact. Now, I will say this, and it kind of went back to what I was saying a second ago. I wish the focus hadn't been, and I can see why, like with the way they ended the movie, I could see why they had so much focus on Bo Peep, but I don't really understand why it was so necessary, because we barely seen Buzz in this movie. Buzz, Jesse, you know, any of the OG crew that I mentioned earlier, we barely seen them in this movie, and I hate that. I really wanted them to include Buzz a whole lot more than they did, and that goes for Jesse and the rest of them as well. They really didn't, and I'm not a fan of that. I feel like, yeah, I'm glad that Woody had his moment. I feel like it was great the way that they projected him and the way that it all came to be with that whole situation, like with him trying to cope with not being with Andy. I'm glad that they talked about that because I think that's great, but I wish they would have included more of the OG characters. Another negative that I will say that I got from every single person that I asked said the same thing. The ventriloquist dolls, I think their name was Victor. I think that's what Gabby called them. They were creepy. So beyond creepy. And it was not necessary to put them in the movie. I think the message of the whole exchange with Woody's sound box to Gabby and that whole thing, I think that could have been portrayed without the ventriloquist dolls. And not only that, but I mean, maybe if they had showed them once, okay, like if they really wanted to put them in the movie, like maybe once, but they repeatedly showed them. And there were times where I talked to a girl on my Facebook page that I've been friends with for a while, and she told me that she literally jumped a few times because of how close they were and like the shock factor of them being there in the antique store. And I don't really see what Disney's thought process was on that, because they're young children coming to this movie. And to me, as an adult, when I think of a ventriloquist doll, it's creepy. So I'm sure to younger children, they're gonna have that same sort of effect, because the ventriloquist dolls in this movie are not nice. They're not good guys. And by the end of the movie, they don't really change that. It's not, you know, with Gabby, she started out evil, kind of shifted to the end. I didn't feel as if she was so evil towards the end of the movie, but you never really seen the ventriloquist dolls anymore after she switched. So I don't really see why they needed to include that. And to be honest with you, I think that's kind of gonna deter people from wanting to take their children, just out of the fear of little things like that they don't want their children to be afraid of when it comes to such a classic Disney movie that they loved growing up. So I don't really see why they included that. Something else, and probably, I'm trying to make sure I've got everything checked off before I get to the big one that I hated so much. And I think I have. Something else, and the biggest issue that I have with this movie, is the ending. Now, the movie, to me, I liked it. I liked the thought of Toy Story 4 coming back. I think it was necessary in my heart because, of course, I love anything Toy Story, so give me more and I'm not gonna complain. But if you're gonna give me Toy Story, give me an ending that's like heartfelt. Now, and I understand at the end of the movie, spoiler alert again, just to make sure, at the end of the movie, the moment where Woody and Buzz, which like I said, they didn't show Buzz much in the movie, so it was kind of weird how they just like pushed him in the end, you know? But towards the end of the movie, when Buzz and Woody are exchanging and they say to infinity and beyond, loved that. I love that. I feel like that's kind of the heartfelt that I was talking about. But to end the movie with Woody deciding to want to remain a lost toy with Bo Peep and to not want to go back with his friends was weird. And let me explain to you why. So to me, now this is just everybody's got an opinion. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong, I could be right. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me, because I am curious on how everyone feels. I hate being so negative about this because I love Toy Story so much. But the ending just was awful. I don't know how else to say it. It was just awful. I sat there with my husband and he was like, you need to get yourself together, because I was like boo-hooing and crying. But it wasn't like, in the past with Toy Story movies, you cry because it's just so heartfelt. No, this time I was crying because I was so upset. Like, I didn't understand why they ended Toy Story 4 the way they did. Why would they, whose Woody's mission the entire movie has been about Bonnie, has been about going with Bonnie to kindergarten, has been about keeping Forky alive because he means so much, and I say alive like as a toy so he doesn't go to the trash. Keeping him with the rest of the gang so that he stays with Bonnie because she loves him so much. That was the point of the whole movie. And then it was like, never mind, I'm just gonna stay here with Bo Peep. And I get that in the past they have kind of went back and forth on if Woody and Bo Peep were in a relationship, like if they loved each other towards the beginning. And I feel like maybe that was something that should have been addressed, like maybe them have a moment, but they really didn't. It was more like a friendly exchange, and that's not past Disney. I mean, clearly they make love movies all the time. That's not past Disney to expect that. So I think just knowing that he chose to leave Bonnie and Buzz and Jesse and all of the OG crew, left all of them to stay with Bo Peep, to not even have a kid. And the reason that he has been doing this whole movie, the reason that this whole thing has happened is because of his care and his love for Bonnie, and him being so upset that he's not with Bonnie. So, and with Andy, with Bonnie and Andy. So I don't really understand. and I don't get it. And I'm planning on taking, like I said, my children have not seen Toy Story 4 yet. They were with their dad this past weekend when I went. So I'm planning on going again with the mindset of how the ending is, just to see if maybe I can piece it all together with knowing what the ending will be. But I'm still not happy about it. And I've talked to several people, and I've had people tell me, oh, I love it. And I'm so glad. I'm so thankful. And a lot of the reviews that I'm seeing here on YouTube are so positive, which is great. I'm not hating on their positivity. But I just want to be honest with you guys about how I feel. The ending, everything else was going great. I didn't like the ventriloquist dolls, like I said, but that was something I could I didn't like it, but I'm not going to let that one little bit ruin the whole movie. The ending ruined the whole movie. Let me say that again. The ending ruined the whole movie. Because I'm an overthinker, now I'm like, okay, So how does that work exactly? So now that Woody, and like I said, I get like really dramatic when it comes to Disney, so just bear with me. But like, so now Woody is not with Buzz. So how does that work at Toy Story Land? Like how, and that's, the only reason I think that way is because that's how Disney has built the whole ordeal, is that it all kind of seamlessly works together with the movies. So I don't know how that goes together. And then I also don't understand why he would, like I said, why he would choose to leave the kid that he's so worried about. He even went to kindergarten with her. Why he would choose to leave her to stay with Bo Peep when he's been sad the whole time that he's not with the kid that he originally liked. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I reached out, like I said, to a few people, and I asked them how they felt, and some agreed with me, some didn't, which is fine. But I wanted to make this video because I told them that I would, and I had a lot of people interested. I'm known for liking Disney, so I had a lot of people message me asking me what I thought about the movie, and I hated to be like, oh, I didn't like it. Like I said, the ending ruined the movie. I hated to say that because I don't want people to not like Toy Story because of my opinion. So that's why I said at the beginning of the movie, there's going to be spoilers, and I don't want my negativity about the movie to affect how you feel about Toy Story. But I don't think the fourth movie was necessary. I'll say that. If that's how they were going to do it, I don't think it was necessary. Or they have to make a fifth one, which that may be the point. I'm not sure, but they have to make a fifth one. I think that's the only way that they're going to fix it, because I don't see how the ending makes sense without us. I mean, we didn't really need to check on them. I mean, I'm glad we did, but we didn't need to check in on them because we knew they were with Bonnie because Andy gave them to her. But now I'm like, so what happened with Woody? Like, is he by himself? Is he with Bo Peep? Are they in love? Did they find a kid? Are they at the flipping fair all day long? Like, what happened to him? Did he end up in an antique store? I don't know. But I really think that Disney needs to make a fifth movie to answer these questions. I'm planning on making another video because me and her name's Twinkle Bell Taryn here on YouTube. I talked to her, and me and her kind of agreed on an ending for Toy Story 4 that we think would work. Or maybe an ending that they should include in Toy Story 5. I may make a video about that just to see if you guys agree with us or not. But stay tuned because I will be making more. But yeah, that's my review. So let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Let me know if you've seen the movie yet, all that stuff. Like I said, I'm going to have a couple of videos linked, so check those out. And then if you've not subscribed yet, please do that because I am going to be posting more soon. I've had a lot of people subscribe to me lately that's local, so I appreciate that. But just let me know, like I said, what your opinion is because clearly I'm upset. But I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a magical day.